Hello folks, well I'm glad to say it's not raining and it's quite mild. It's finally the weather looks like it might have taken a turn for a week. No rain forecast, just sort of light cloud and not freezing cold. So going to get on with the roof, going to try and get this side finished in the next few days, which is quite exciting. It's been a crazy week as far as our YouTube channel goes. 5,000 new subscribers and a video that's just past 100,000 views. So thank you so much. We didn't see that coming, but we're glad it has, and we're just so thankful for all the messages we've had from literally around the world. It's been a lot of fun keeping up with all the comments and replying and just making contact with people that are interested in what we're doing. It's been really good fun. So long may it continue. So I'm going to get up on the roof now and get on with some stuff, which I'll put in the next video, because I'll make this video of some footage of the last week and the bits and pieces I've been getting up to while I haven't been able to do the roof. So thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing and putting up with the barking. Just got back from Essex. I went down to see my mum, who was 90 at the weekend, and took Maggie with me. And it was funny, take her out of her comfort zone on the farm, and she's just this quiet little demure dog. Bring her back here, let me show you. And she just kind of rules the roost a bit. She's a great dog though. Maggie, back. Back. Good girl. Sit, sit, sit. Off you go. Anyway, that's my target up there, but I'll leave you with some footage of the last week. So again, thanks for watching. Catch you soon. Well, hello folks, it's the first video of 2025 and we're just pressing on with the barn, but the weather's not playing ball, to be honest. I really thought that between Christmas and New Year I'd be able to get the last of the slates on the first side of the roof, but the weather has basically either been raining really hard and been really mild, or it stops raining and gets really cold and freezes up. And today was the first day where it wasn't going to be raining, and but it got down real cold last night. Everywhere's frozen, and I can't even stand the ladder up on the scaffold because the bottom is sitting on ice and it's just slipping away all the time. So I had to find something else to do today before I went completely mad. And fortunately I've been able to find somewhere that has got potentially enough slate, to second-hand slate that is, to finish my roof. So I'm heading off at the moment to the next glen across. It's called Glen Shira. It's funny because when we first were looking to move up here, and we had put in an offer on Ladyfield, we found out that a famous Scottish author called Neil Munro had spent his childhood summers at Ladyfield with his maternal grandmother. And most famously, Neil Munro wrote the Parahandy stories, the Tales of Parahandy, which have been made into, I think, 2 TV series in the 60s and maybe in the 70s, I'm not sure. So we started looking into Neil Munro and we found a book called Gillian the Dreamer, and it's basically set at Ladyfield, and it mentions all the places round and about. It talks about Glen Shira and a farm called Marm and a farm called Drimlee, and it talks about Tulloch, and it talks about Drimfern, and these are all places where we know. We don't know them intimately. Some of them we're starting to know intimately, but so today I'm heading over into Glen Shira. I'll be driving past barn, and I'm heading up there to a place where there is a barn that is derelict, and the slates are all off the roof. In fact, the roof is missing. But some of the slates have been stacked on pallets, some of them are just laying around. So I'm just gonna, obviously I have permission. I'm not just going and nicking them. Yeah, the owner has said to go and help myself. So that's just brilliant, because I think there's potentially enough there to finish the roof. I'm going to need maybe 2,500-3,000 slates, I reckon, to finish off. And I mean, the barn that is derelict, that these slates have come off, is way bigger than our barn. Maybe not as long, but the roof would have been much bigger, much taller. And plus there's another outbuilding on the side of it as well, which is of a substantial size. So I'm hoping that we might be able to scavenge enough to get finished. So that's where I'm heading now, and reclaiming is the name of the game. Reclaim and recycle, eh? So that's today's trick. Hello folks, well it's the weather's just continued as it was, just cold. It's been dry the last few days, but the yard was like a skating rink. No chance of getting on the roof. In fact, I couldn't even get the ladder to stay on the ground level. It was, I put it up on the scaffold and the bottom just kept sliding away on the ice, so there was no chance of getting up. So the roof stays as it is for now. So I need to get on with something, so my plan is to get these rafter feet cut. You see on there all these timbers along here, which if I take you inside, I can show you them from in here. You'll see that they're just bolted to the side of the rafters in here. See them on each one. Obviously I don't want a, I didn't want a, like a huge great 9x4 foot sticking out. I mean you can cut them, but that was just too complicated to do, so I thought the easiest way would just to be to add these feet on the end. And it worked really nicely. It meant I could put a string line up at each end and then just put them to the string line. I've got one left from the batch I made before, not painted yet. That was, I think that might even have been the first one I cut. So at least I've got the angle set. So I'm just going to get a load of 4x2 in and get them all cut on the cross-cut saw. At least I'll be getting on with something, and then I can get round the back of the barn, get a new string line up, and get these all on. See, they're going to go along here. So although I can't be getting on with what I want to get on with, at least I'm getting on with something. There's quite a few of these that have got a lot of bark on the edge of them. Just ones that I knew I'd get something out of. So, what am I going to get out of that? 1, 2, 2, 4, 36, 72, so it's 4, get 5 out of that. Yeah, I get 5 out of that. So if I get 5 out of a length, I need 6 lengths. I'm sure I'll get an extra 1 out of one of them, so yeah. Like I said, some of this wood's got a little bit wet, so the blade's grabbing a little bit, making hard work of it. Well, hi folks, it's another day. It's a cracker, bright sunshine, but as you might have already guessed, it's really cold. It's there go the dogs. Yeah, it's -3 at the moment, which is not conducive with painting, unfortunately. So I took all the wood in, all the rafter feet in last night and stacked them around the wood burner just to get them all dry, which has worked a treat. It's just surface water on them, so that was fine. And so they're ready to paint, but I just looked at the tin of paint that I'm using. It's a barn paint, which I've used in the past. It's fantastic stuff, made by a company called Bedeck. And yeah, really, really good stuff. Covers really well and protects the wood really well. I used it on a timber frame garage that I built down in England for painting all the feather edge boarding that clad it, or siding if you're in America and Canada and places like that. And yeah, really good stuff. But you can't use it in, you can't paint it on in temperatures below 10 degrees. So I've brought the paint in, and just don't tell the axe lady I'm going to paint them indoors. Good thing is the paint is water based, which is why you can't paint at freezing temperatures, of course. But because it's water based, it doesn't smell. Well, not particularly. It should be gone by the time Lindsay gets back from work. So, mum's the word. Speaking of mum's the word, I have to keep the dogs separate at the moment. As we buck there and Ray's off over there, but Maggie's in the caravan because she came into season last week or so, and there could be some puppies on the way. They're going to be some little raggies, which is because Ray and Maggie have done the deed. So watch this space. There could be puppies come early March. So dogs we've got about another week where we've just got to keep them separate because we don't want Ray getting to Maggie again. They've already done the deed twice, and that's enough. Well, I do hope you're not going to be too horrified by this, my dear girl. I've taken precautions. There's carpet on the table. So I guess while I'm painting this stuff, I might as well answer a question that we had on the channel in a comment just before Christmas from somebody whose channel is called Newland Park. And they asked if I had any, what my background was, so because of what I was doing here. And you don't want my life story, of course, but basically my two sources of income over the years have been the building trade and music. I left school and had an apprenticeship at Marconi, the telecommunications company in Chelmsford, Essex. Marconi was the inventor of radio, and so Marconi Communications was involved in telecommunications and radar and all that kind of stuff. And I had a mechanical engineering apprenticeship with them when I left school at 16. And I enjoyed elements of it, but it wasn't for me. And so I only lasted 18 months at that. But I always enjoyed making stuff. Did that ever since I was a kid. I liked making things. But there wasn't enough making stuff in that. There was too much paperwork as far as I was concerned. So I jacked that in, and I got a job at a local firm that made photographic like studio level photographic flash equipment called Bowen's. Worked there for quite a while and ended up working with a toolmaker, fantastic old boy called Norman, proper old school engineer who could make incredible items, you know, working to a tolerance of, you know, parts of thousandths of an inch. Really quite amazing. I learnt loads off of Norman, became a really good friend. But then in about 1991, I think it was, I got made redundant from that job. And so I was unemployed for a while. All the while I'd started learning to play the guitar. A great friend of mine, Steve Perry, showed me my first chords on the guitar when I was 16. And speaking of Steve Perry, if you're watching this, I hope you're doing well, mate. And as promised, here's a shout out to Joe and James. You're doing amazing work with your dad there. Keep it up, and I'm proud of you, beyond words. Anyway, I was learning to play the guitar all that time. Was unemployed, and then ended up getting a few days' work a week working with a cabinet maker. So I kind of went from metal to wood, which, to be honest, was more suitable to me. I mean, wood was always seemed much more available and workable than metal, if you hadn't got lots of machines, which obviously I didn't. So I started working with a cabinet maker and really enjoyed that. And slowly but surely kind of got bits of work on my own. But then, you know, you start doing work for people as a self-employed guy, and eventually you get asked to do things that you've not done before. And I could never say no. So somebody'd ask me to do something and I'd say, yeah, I can do that, yeah. And then I'd have to go and very quickly learn how to do that. And that's how my skills kind of accrued, really. I never went to any formal education for the building trade, you know, carpentry courses or anything like that. I just kind of hung around with people who were better at it than I was and learnt from them. It's pretty much how I've learnt everything, really. Just hang around with people who are better than you at the thing you want to do. I heard a great quote earlier this year, I think, or earlier last year, which was, if you're the smartest man in the room, you're in the wrong room. It's always something to learn from other people. So that's how I kind of went ahead, and I got asked if I could do a bit of plastering. So of course I said yeah, and I'd never done any, but I'd seen guys doing it, so it was only a small job. I thought I'll give it a go, and got away with that. And one thing led to another, and then, you know, eventually I ended up doing, you know, entire loft conversions and building extensions and all that kind of stuff. And done it ever since. And but in between times, you know, ended up becoming a fairly proficient musician and songwriter, and ended up touring Europe, the UK, and then Europe, and then latterly in Canada a lot. I mean, the story of how I got to Canada is it's a whole video on its own, really, involving a great friend, a man who I didn't know became just a beautiful friend, a guy called Andy Donnelly, who was coincidentally from Scotland. In fact, from a place of only about an hour and a half's drive or so from here, Gurrock. And I'll tell you that story on the channel one day. But that's another man I want to thank. Andy, life wouldn't be what it is today without you, my friend. And yeah, so that's what I've done. I listened to musicians who were way better than me, and eventually was able to record some albums, and then met people who are even better at the things. Another guy who needs a mention, Chris West, great friend, brilliant record producer, and yeah, key people really. And I've been pulling that off for 35 years or something like that, which it did make me smile in a video that I did a while back, which was demolishing part of the roof on the barn, and somebody commented that there are some people who just shouldn't be left to their own devices, which kind of made me smile, because I thought, well, you know what, I've been left to my own devices for over 30 years and have hundreds of satisfied customers all over the place, and yeah, so I don't think I'm too big a danger. Anyway, yeah, that's my background. So thanks for asking the question, Newland Park. And yeah, it's good fun to be up to date with the videos in a way that you can answer comments in a fairly up to date manner, So yeah, if you've got any more questions, fire them in. And it'd be nice if this became like a community where we all share the journey. So thanks for taking the time to watch all this nonsense. And it's I spend a huge amount of my time here on my own with Lindsay going to work, and me being here getting the renovation done. So it's actually quite nice during the day to be doing things, and although you're not here chatting to you, it's just quite a bizarre deal that this YouTube thing creates. But yeah, it takes a little bit of the sense of being on your own away, that's for sure. Thanks for that as well. Anyway, I shall carry on painting and trying not to make a mess, I promise. That promise is mostly to Lindsay. And see you in another video soon.